So guys, I was getting ready to watch this movie called Devil's Story from Vinegar Syndrome, and as I was getting ready to watch this, I said to myself, boy, I hope I don't regret buying this one. So I don't think it's really taboo to say this anymore, but Vinegar Syndrome, along with other companies, but Vinegar Syndrome surely releases some really bad movies. And I thought it would be fun to do a list today of 10 movies that I don't regret getting from Vinegar Syndrome. And if you like this video, I'd be more than happy to do a Blu-rays I do regret getting from Vinegar Syndrome after this. But of course, by the time I put this video out, I'll have watched this, but let me know if you enjoyed Devil's Story. It looks pretty quirky. So here are 10 Vinegar Syndrome releases that I don't regret buying. Night Screams. I really enjoyed this one. A really fun slasher. First off, the cover art on that is amazing. Tonight Their Cries Will Fall on Deaf Ears. That's just really cool looking. The release on this is gorgeous, and it looked phenomenal. This was a 4K. And just to give you a little bit of a synopsis, because I think that I always like to assume that a lot of people haven't seen this movie. High school football star David just won a 4-year scholarship to the University of Oklahoma. With his parents away for the night, he's planning to mark the occasion with a party for his buddies and girlfriend. But as the evening festivities get underway at a local nightclub, two violent fugitives take refuge in the basement of David's home. When the action moves over to David's place, it quickly becomes clear that someone is intent on spoiling the celebration. There were some really fun slasher sequences in this, and I just thought it was quirky and fun. I'd never heard of Night Screams. What year was this? I feel like it was earlier 80s. Let's see. 1987. So not earlier 80s. I was wrong on that. But I enjoyed this one a lot. I thought it was really fun. Definitely something I would gladly watch again in the near future. So if you haven't seen this one, I say go for it. I think Night Screams is an easy one to pick up. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Now the next one, I kind of had an idea of what I was going to be dealing with, but I didn't actually see the movie until I bought it, and that was Fade to Black. This was really good. Fade to Black was really sensational. Honestly, I could have seen a movie like Fade to Black. Now, this could sound a little over the top, but I could have seen a movie like Fade to Black being a Criterion release. It's basically like the movie The Joker that came out, but this came out in 1980. First off, look at that artwork on the back, too. This movie is fantastic. It's about this guy who has the worst home life. He has no solace at work. He's just an outcast, but he finds his love with movies and characters, and he loves to get lost in movies. Sounds kind of familiar, right? I think a lot of us movie lovers, especially in the horror genre, horror is a genre to escape to, so I think a lot of us can relate to that. But this was a really great movie with one of the best endings I'd ever seen in a long time. The ending of this movie just works on all levels. The guy who played this was Eddie Spaghetti in the It miniseries. Dennis Christopher, there it is. Yeah, the Fade to Black was fantastic. This was a great release. I think this is a Blu-ray, but they had great interviews on here too, including Irwin Yablans, who produced Halloween, and you'll see Halloween posters in this movie. Desperately recommend that movie. Next up, this one's just a great little spooky, fun horror movie, Frightmare. Now, this movie has a number of different posters, but this movie is fun. So, Frightmare, here's the poster I was thinking of that's kind of like it's known for in a lot of ways, is the casket. Frightmare is this movie group that wants to resurrect this horror icon actor. And they do, but it turns out it's not for their best interest. Really fun movie. This was, I want to say this was a Charlie Band film. Or Troma, one of the two. Troma. It was Troma releasing. Now, they released the film, but I don't know if Lloyd actually made it. But it was good. This was a 2K scan Blu-ray. I like this movie. The guy who plays the horror icon was great in this, and just quirky but fun and enjoyable. This was like during the time where Vinegar Syndrome actually had, I felt like their track record was actually pretty good going on during this time. But Frightmare was really fun. Highly recommend this one if you have not seen it. Go for it. If you're overseas, I know 88 Films put out a Blu-ray for that too, but they did a gorgeous slipcover with this one, so happily added that. The next one, guys, is Demon Wind. Now, this is like the Vinegar Syndrome title I think a lot of people had when they started collecting Vinegar Syndrome, because this came out probably in mid-2010s. But this is kind of like a group party Evil Dead type movie. Great title. There's some great special effects in here. And this came out in 1984. Love Demon Wind. Now, there's a release of Demon Wind that I think when they first released it, oh my god, this slipcover was gorgeous. It was this lenticular slip. But really fun movie. Demon Wind is a blast. I highly recommend this one. I wonder if it has reversible art. It does. It does. It has reversible art. And this is when they actually were putting DVDs. So yeah, this was an early release for Vinegar Syndrome. There's a DVD in here as well as a Blu-ray. But here's the reversible art. I've actually never reversed the art before. The demon coming through the window. Fun movie. Energetic. Loved it. I was so happy. It kind of gave me a false sense of what Vinegar Syndrome, their quality was, because it was like, this is awesome. Next up, this is a blind buy that I highly recommend. It's not for everybody, but when it works for you. If you love schlocky 80s fun, nothing beats Spookies. Pizzal did a video about this, and he described the movie. I stopped the review. I went and ordered it. I fell in love with Spookies. This is one of the most entertaining effects reel movies. It's just scene after scene of effects work. They make a water gremlin. They have a big spider. They've got a guy as a wolf. They've got farting muckmen. It is so entertaining. I love Spookies. It is the quintessential good bad horror movie. To me, this is like a B-movie masterpiece. I love it. So entertaining. The water gremlin is one of my favorite things I've ever seen. That's what it is. It's a water gremlin. It's like a mermaid gremlin. I actually hope they'll do a 4K of this, but I don't know if they ever will. But this Blu-ray is fantastic. This is a 4K scan from the negative. If memory serves, yes. Just looks fantastic. Get it. Spookies, awesome. It has reversible art too. I love this artwork on it. Next one, this is really underrated. It's called The Caller. I don't know if people have seen or heard about this movie. The Caller, man, it's a great cast. It's the woman who plays the wife of Chevy Chase in Funny Farm. I forget the actress's name, but she's great. Madeline Smith and the great Malcolm McDowell in here. This movie was really good. It's like this guy shows up to this woman's house at night, needs to use the phone, and like he's not leaving. The conversations start getting a little weird. Really great thriller. I loved The Caller. This was 1987. Awesome movie. Awesome movie. Again, when I was getting into Vinegar Syndrome, this movie gave me another sense of like, well, this came out in 2020, so maybe I had gotten some bad movies by them, but not a whole lot yet. But The Caller, this is one that's like, when I talk about this, I'd say 6 out of 10 times people really have said, oh, I never even heard of that. And I didn't either. I just grabbed it. It was a blind buy. Don't regret it. Love this movie. Pick this one up. It's awesome. Next up, this was a case of, I hope it's at least halfway as good as the poster art, and that is Mausoleum. I love Mausoleum. This is a really fun 80s movie. The Nomad family has been the victim of an ancient curse in which the firstborn daughter of each generation has come violently mad and suspiciously dies. No one can explain the Nomad madness, but some say it's because of the possession of a terrible demonic force. By way of an unnatural urge during her mother's funeral, Susan entered her family's mausoleum, and ever since, an evil presence has been lurking inside of her, waiting for a chance to come out. Awesome, fun movie. It's really great. I loved Mausoleum so much, and this was the early 80s. Just pure 80s horror cinema. I love it so much. I'll keep this one fairly spoiler free. I don't know how many people have seen Mausoleum. Probably a good number of you watching this, but if you haven't, oh my god. To me, this is a staple Vinegar Syndrome pickup. There's been some other companies that put this out, but as far as I know, like, this is the American one, is the Mausoleum release, and that artwork is amazing. But this is the artwork. You might recognize that artwork. You can reverse it, but that's the artwork that most people are probably familiar with. But again, this was during the time when they were still putting DVDs in their releases, so this was probably 2018. Yeah, I missed that. Put them DVDs back in there. I didn't pick up the Amityville Dollhouse collection, which I'd recommend that, but I did pick up at the time Dollhouse. This is one of my favorite Amityville movies. The guy that plays the dad, the Vietnam dad who passed away and comes back, has one of the freakiest set of eyes I've ever seen. Amityville Dollhouse is pure 90s horror. And it's not a great movie, but it's an actually pretty good movie. I think it's entertaining as all hell. There's some creepy stepmom stuff going on in here. Kind of like we'd seen before with some kind of family stuff going on, like in Amityville 2. So they carry that over in Dollhouse, but a really great premise. I like it. There's an Amityville dollhouse that they give to the girl. She brings it into the house, and it's cursed. But man, that dad, that Vietnam dad, freaks me out. I love Dollhouse. Don't ask me why this came in a blue case. That was an Amazon pickup. Next up, guys, this is probably one of the best Vinegar Syndrome titles of all time, Freeway. Holy mother of God. Talk about not regret picking this up. I don't know if there were sequels to this, but Freeway is one of the freaking best movies. Talk about an intense 90s thriller. I loved it so much. It's a big movie star in here. Her name's slipping me. Reese Witherspoon. Okay, Reese Witherspoon. I can't imagine why this movie was like so underground to me, where I really hadn't heard of it that much before. But after seeing it, it's just like, holy fuck. Like this, I'm sorry, I have to say it. This movie is amazing. This is a great 4K too, 1996. I'm sure a lot of you have seen this movie, but for some reason you haven't, and you're wanting to get some more Vinegar Syndrome stuff, Freeway will kick your ass. Alright guys, and the number one movie I don't regret buying, this was actually a movie recommended to me by the viewers when I was doing videos on the Living Dead kind of bargain bin movies, and that is my favorite Vinegar Syndrome title of all time. I'm talking about Flesh Eater. This is, without a shadow of a doubt, my favorite Vinegar Syndrome title. The great Bill Heinzman playing this amazing zombie in an homage style to Night of the Living Dead, where he comes out of the ground just somewhere random in the woods with this freaky cemetery plot. He comes out and it becomes a great zombie film. Super fun. It was a movie made in kind of competition with Night of the Living Dead, the colored version coming out at the time, because the people involved with the movie weren't going to make a penny from that. So Bill Heinzman was like, let's make our own Night of the Living Dead kind of sequel, and that's Flesh Eater. Shot on 16mm film, restored in 4K. The most fun zombie film ever. I fucking love Flesh Eater. Bill Heinzman is the greatest zombie of all time. Still looked very much like he did from the original Night of the Living Dead. If you don't have this, this is like the biggest CHH recommend of all time. Flesh Eater. Pick it up. I wish I would have got it off of the website instead of Amazon, because there's a great slip for this, but I love this movie to death. So fun, late 80s magic, and it's a great Halloween movie. So those are movies I don't regret getting from Vinegar Syndrome, guys. If you like this, I'd be more than happy to do a movies I do regret getting from Vinegar Syndrome and have some fun with that. But thank you guys for watching. This is your old pal CHH, and I'll see y'all next time. Take care. Huge giant thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Without you guys, this would not be possible. To get behind the scenes photos, videos, music, private live streams, and much more, you can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Thank you to my patrons.